What up, ladies and gentlemen? It's the Chinnist. Today is May 9th, Wednesday, New Comic Book Day. I have my haul here of 25 with 24 different titles. I have read through this stack. Great stack this week. So getting into it, starting off with DC, Justice League, No Justice. Have been waiting for this one, man. Really hyped up about this one. You know, DC did a pretty good job promoting and marketing this stuff. So the DC Nation that came out last week, was it last week? Man, it seems so far away. Was kind of like a preview, like a fast forward in the timeline here. This is actually like right after Metal, you know, coming right off of the Justice League where it kind of left off. So starting off, you know, from the Metal series, you know, you have the a broken source wall. On the other side are like, you know, dark entities. The Green Lantern Corps is here to try to, you know, seal it off. A lot of things kind of going on in this action-packed title here, in my opinion. A lot of different writers are in this one. Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, and Joshua Williamson. Man, great job so far, in my opinion. So a couple different storylines going on. You also have Amanda Waller kind of doing like her little, you know, deal on the side at the same time. You have the Justice League kind of fighting Brainiac, and this is where it kind of the storyline kind of really picks up here. You know, through a certain fight, you know, with them, Brainiac kind of allies with the heroes here, and you know, it took a little bit of time to build some trust. But I'm just going to kind of leave it on this next page where Brainiac kind of starts to explain. He knows this from his home world. He knows, you know, he's I forgot which planet he's from, but you know, they're the most intelligent, you know, culture that's out there. Come to find out, there are actually 4. You know, gods, space gods that have always kind of been there. Starting off, they're called the Omega Titans. We have Entropy, Wisdom, Wonder, and Mystery. So they kind of did like this little bet to where they feel each of them is more important to intelligent life. So eons ago, they kind of like spread their seeds, so to speak, and let culture kind of thrive. And whichever one was the strongest was a winner, and they get to destroy that Earth as the winning. So it's like really screwed up. It's kind of like this weird like bar bet in a way, you know, by the celestial gods. So yeah, so this is how the Justice League kind of starts splitting up into different teams that you got a kind of glimpse of in DC Nation. So yeah, great stuff, man. They really kicked this one off really well. Really excited to go through this one. I think this is like a 4-part miniseries. Yeah, 1 of 4. So yeah, check it out. Alright, next up, The Flash. Love The Flash, you know, as I said, you know, this title has been pretty good almost all the way through, from Rebirth all the way through 46, in my opinion. You know, any lull that they have was, you know, just a great storytelling along the way. So this one kind of focuses kind of half and half on Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne, and I have that Matina cover B coming in through my Midtown order, you know, hopefully it comes in this Saturday. But kind of, you know, half and half between Eobard Thawne and Wally West. So in the last issue, you kind of saw like all his memory throughout like all the different crises and stuff. It all came flooding back to him, and he's kind of learning how to deal with this. He's kind of like taking like a bad, like sulking, you know, like woe is me type of way to this, and kind of like comes around at the end. But this really sets up this Flash war that's about to come up. I don't know which in May. Hey, right about to come up here. But this storyline kind of like kicks off that little. It's not a crossover, but a little separate storyline they're going to be doing here. So yeah, really looking forward to that one. I really enjoy The Flash so far. Alright, next up, New Superman, Justice League of China. Another character that, you know, I just fell in love with from like issue 1 all the way through, man. I really enjoy this title. This is kind of like a Elseworld type of alternate reality Superboy, in my opinion. But it evolved from there to where it's straight up, you know, the entire Justice League. The very last edition was the North Korean Aquaman. I forgot what they call him, like Dragon Son or something of that nature is what he calls himself. So he's kind of learning how to deal with his powers. Very good action scenes that kind of occurred. In the very last one, it was the Green Lantern Corps that kind of used some like weird kryptonite, fake kryptonite on Superboy here, Superman, Kanan Khan, to where he became this white, like weird, you know, personality. Kind of had to be taken out of that, and along the way he actually formed like another like black type of ghost power, you know, along the way. So yeah, very cool. You know, his powers are still kind of evolving here. So really enjoy that character development they're doing here on Kanan Khan. All right, next up, the Immortal Men. So number one was just kind of okay for me, guys, to tell you the truth. You know, Jim Lee was the artist. I love Jim Lee. He's, you know, high up there on my artist of all time, you know, especially for the superhero genre. So the artist, I forgot which artist kind of took over for him, but he still has like that Jim Lee. I mean, it looks very Jim Lee-esque, you know, so to speak. So still love this artwork. They really started to introduce the various characters now and started to introduce, you know, what their powers were. So at the very beginning, I heard this was kind of like a similar, more akin to X-Men. I didn't really see it in that first issue, didn't really, you know, get the comparison, but after they kind of started explaining the powers of the various immortal people here, oh yeah, so much. Oh man, this title, I am going to love this title, and it's really, really like the X-Men in my opinion. So you have this this one Native American Indian. I forgot how old she was, but I think maybe like a couple 100 years old. But she's basically like Miss Marvel. She could change her size and density of her body. You had this other guy who could actually has this like ghost power or kinetic energy and could teleport. You know, exactly like other mutants that, you know, we've known. This one dude is like a werewolf. He goes from like fighting werewolf to like docile, like, you know, puppy dog. He has like 2 modes. Pretty cool. This other guy could alter time. He uses guns to where I thought that was pretty stupid, but along the way, his altering time, he could shoot 1 bullet, and with his power to warp time, that 1 bullet will penetrate his enemy like 1,000 times. So very, very cool, man. Like, this team could do like all types of things, you know, if you kind of think about their fighting power and how they could kind of work together. So they haven't introduced everyone all together yet, but man, this one issue really got me hooked onto this title, man, by far. So if y'all have skipped this title so far and y'all enjoy the X-Men, seriously check out this title, man. This is going to be a good one in my opinion. So yeah, the Immortal Men. Alright, next up, another new age of heroes, just like the Immortal Men, Sideways. So a lot of comparisons to Spider-Man, to Peter Parker specifically. So agree to it? Yes, I agree to that. But, you know, because of that, I love it. His, you know, quick wit, quirkiness, you know, his banter that he throws out there, you know, just always kind of throwing it out there. So, but this is at the very beginning to where, you know, he's kind of learning what his powers are. He's learning to adapt. He's, you know, had a couple of fights now under his belt. He's getting, you know, starting to get a little bit better, but still learning how to do like this whole superhero thing, you know. So yeah, very cool, very good new opponent they kind of started introducing here. Great fight scene, and this opponent kind of goes away in this one issue. I won't show what happens, but very good fight scene, man. I really enjoyed this this title as well as the last one, Sideways. Okay, next up, a title I typically do not read. This is straight up a spec buy. So, Scooby-Doo Apocalypse. So, spoiler, if y'all do read this one, I'm going to kind of show, you know, what happens and why this was a, you know, speculation buy. So, having said that, spoiler alert, so in this one you kind of have the main character, Ken, who actually dies in this one issue here, and it's not like, you know, maybe he'll come back or you know, maybe he will not. And, you know, I won't show you how he truly dies. And I'll leave that to a little bit of a spoiler, but at the very end, they kind of show his ghost. And, you know, so you know that Ken is straight up, he is dead. So very, very, very surprising to me. You know, I'm not really sure, like, how long this title was going to go for, you know, or what the master plan there was. But, yeah, very surprising. So, yeah, picked up 2 of them. All right, next up, from Marvel now, we have Star Wars Darth Vader Man. As I said, you know, this is volume number 2. That volume number 1 was, man, just phenomenal. This one is equal to suit, if not even better. So this one kind of brings back the Inquisitors, which they introduced in the Rebels TV show. If anyone who watches that, man, great TV show. They finally wrapped it up. So this was that final hunt down. They have a couple of the Jedi who kind of survived the Order 66. So they were being hunted down on Mon Cala, which is where the Mon Calamari are. So great battle scenes, man, excellent battle scenes. So there's not a Jedi fight yet. You know, they don't really show it, but very, very good twist here at the end, you know, to really set up that final battle. So I'll just kind of show the Inquisitors along with Darth Vader, man, great scenes, man. So yeah, this excellent action here in this one. The next one is where the I guess the dying is going to really occur. So yeah, man, can't wait for that. All right, next up, another Star Wars title. I think just one more. So we have Thrawn. So Thrawn, this actually was a kind of like an adaptation. The source material is actually from a novel that was, I guess it was Legends, and they're kind of like, this is like the canon version of that novel. So, you know, this one's a lot of, you know, just a lot of verbiage. There's not a lot of prose. There's not too much action here. This is really more of a character study, in my opinion. So, you know, Thrawn is kind of like a, you know, supreme strategist, kind of like a Moriarty, you know, similar to from the Sherlock mythos. But if you enjoyed him from the Rebels TV show, check out this title, in my opinion. So yeah, just a little bit more background history to like who he was and how he gained power to Admiral. Alright, next up, another title I typically do not pick up, just a milestone number 300, the Despicable Deadpool. So overall, you know, I am not too much of a Deadpool fan. I love the movie, you know, number 2, I'm going to be, you know, seeing that, you know, Saturday night for sure. But overall, you know, I'm not too much of a Deadpool fan just because of the amount that he typically talks, you know, and like in real life, like, you know, people who like say, you know, just talk a lot, that just is really annoying to me, you know. So because of that, you know, in the comic world, I just don't want to read, you know, someone who's like that. But hilarious nonetheless. You know, I love him, but just in small doses. You know, when he's in crossovers, great. You know, it's just hard for me to read it like continuous title. This issue, however, was just hilarious. So the first half, you know, won't explain how he gets these powers, but, you know, for some reason he gets powers to where he makes everyone in like a close proximity to him throw up. So back in the day, what was it, Secret Empire, he killed what is Agent Colton. So because of that, like the entire Marvel, like, you know, universe, all the superheroes are trying to kill Deadpool. Of course, you know, he can't really die. So he really wants to die, you know, at this point in time, you know, kind of a lot of character development kind of going on. But just hilarious how the various people kind of react to his power here, and they all start throwing up. The most hilarious was Miss Marvel, you know, with her power to kind of, you know, warp her body. Man, hilarious how her cheeks just kind of filled up to like massive scale. So yeah, very good. You know, he's looking for redemption along the way. I won't show you, you know, what happens, but, you know, does he get it? Maybe, kind of, sorta, you know. I hear this kind of concludes, oh man, yeah, Ant-Man throwing up, oh my gosh, classic, dude, oh my gosh. Or I guess Giant Man. So yeah, great stuff here. I won't show at the very end like how he gets his redemption, but yeah, pretty cool. I understand they're going to tie up this writer. You know, he's finally off this title for like, I forgot like how many issues or how many years, but it was like forever. So again, you know, this was a great issue. I don't really read Deadpool, but man, great issue to pick up, this number 300. I have the wraparound coming in from Midtown this weekend. All right, next up, the New Mutants, Dead Soul. So I picked up number 1. I was not too much of a fan. When number 2 came out, I forgot who recommended me to pick that up, noticing that I did not pick it up. I will look at that later on, try to remember who that was. But, you know, so I threw number 3 on there. And this was a pretty good issue, in my opinion. So it kind of like threw you right into the action. A lot of good dialogue, a lot of funny stuff kind of happening along the way. Man, really, this title was, or this one issue was really good. I think I need to go back and go pick up that number 2 and you know, as a back issue and kind of read through that. This was a mini series. I think it's only like to number 6, but yeah, this is pretty good enough for me to pick it up in floppies. Alright, next up, Domino, number 2. So this was a character I've never totally really been into, you know, not really. I was more of a long shot fan over Domino, you know, pretty much same powers. But, man, the issue number 1, which I picked up just to, you know, kind of have it like an issue number 1, that issue really got me. The comedy that she had, you know, kind of, man, it really, hit home with me for some reason. So I heard a lot of you know, comparisons between Harley. I guess this is like kind of like a character change for the humor with her, and I guess a lot of comparisons with Harley. Maybe they're trying to make her more like a Harley. I do not like Harley like at all. Like zero. And I know there's a lot of y'all who love Harley, but I really don't like Harley Quinn. And like her banter versus like her humor versus Domino humor here is not the same at all, in my opinion. So total fan of this humor, not a fan of Harley Quinn. So anyways, yeah, pretty good. Starts off with a heist. It gets into like other areas and like other things, and into this when she kind of loses her powers. Her powers go kind of wonky for a while. Pretty cool stuff with a guest appearance from Spider-Man. So yeah, great stuff in my opinion. Yeah, Domino. All right, next up, Exiles. So this is kind of like a Elseworld type of alternate reality type of title here, which I love. This one kind of started off like a little bit slow, for me. A little bit of a disappointment with the Wolverine. I knew he was going to be like a cartoon character, but they made him to be like a little baby cartoon character. I was not really expecting that. I don't know, man. That Wolverine's going to have to grow on me, but pretty good action, overall so far. They're slowly adding on, new members to the team. You have Blink, you have Valkyrie, Valkyrie straight up from the last movie, Thor Ragnarok. And you have Miss Marvel, and Miss Marvel is kind of from like an alternate future and really reminiscent of Extremity, the Image title that's out there right now. It's like as if she came from that world, She shoots guns, but she still has her powers. So yeah, this is kind of weird to where they go to like a alternate reality Atlantis, and I see like a sub-Namor kind of like running like a circus. So really, really weird type of storylines, but kind of like a different change up, kind of breath of fresh air, in my opinion, from other things that are kind of get stale after a while. All right, next up, XMen Blue. So as I said before in the past, I pick up all the X-Men titles right now, and I really enjoy all of them. They have peaks and valleys, all of them, but great storylines throughout all the various titles that are out there, in my opinion. So pretty cool stuff here in this one. This one really starts to highlight Havoc as that the new up and coming arch evil, arch nemesis bad guy that everyone's gonna have to fight, kind of like what Cyclops X became back in the past. But yeah, this one kind of really starts to build him up. A lot of good action, a lot of good fighting. So yeah, really enjoy all the X titles right now. Okay, so it starts off with Wolverine. That's my that's my guy. He was the original X-Men that really got me into the entire X-Men world. To tell you the truth, it's all about Wolverine. So very, very happy that he's coming back. Wasn't really too sure what to expect from this one title. The Daredevil one was just like okay for me. It sounded like just watching other YouTube videos out there. It seemed like everyone really enjoyed that one. That's great. I was not too much of a fan. Kind of slow for me. It didn't really go anymore. I really enjoyed it. So I wasn't really sure what to expect from this title. I didn't really know, what these people would really bring to the table. I thought it was kind of strange. So apparently, this was a lineup at one point in time of the Avengers, and this is, I guess, when I was completely out of comics. I did not pick this one up in trade, yet. So not really sure when this lineup occurred, but Jessica Jones, Power Man, and Wolverine. So not really sure when that happened with Spider-Man. So, but very cool, and you kind of get like the back history as to why these members are trying to find Wolverine's body. Due to this one previous event when they were all Avengers back on the same team. That's why Tony Stark has skin in the game to want, or why this entire team wants to actually find Logan. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one issue here, far more than what I thought I would, based on how I enjoyed that Daredevil from last week. So yeah. Okay, here's another one that I'm all over Donny Cates right now. I've never truly been a Venom true fan. I enjoy Venom, but not too much. Man, I really, really enjoyed this one issue. So, I just picked up number one. I did not sub to it originally. I will be subscribing to this title, and for sure. I really enjoyed this one. So, the only thing, so artwork, in my opinion, was excellent as far as the pencils and lines. However, the coloring, I felt was like a little bit blah, just a little bit drab. I really prefer just a little bit more vibrant. In my opinion, and so I guess they're kind of going for a certain tone here, but yeah, I would have preferred just something a little bit different, but maybe it'll grow on me. But anyways, back on this, back up to the storyline. The storyline is what really grabbed me. So you kind of find out they kind of like retcon the symbiotes, and versus Peter Parker being the first Earthling to come in contact with symbiote. That's not true. This kind of like retcons like what happens with symbiotes, coming to Earth like a long time ago, like far before Peter Parker and Secret Wars 2 ever happened. So yeah, a lot of depth, a lot deeper storyline. And they introduced this one guy, I forgot what his name is, but come to find out, he's been, he's had a symbiote in him since like, I think the Vietnam War. So yeah, it goes like way back. So yeah, great storyline. Man, I never really thought I was going to enjoy it, this much. I love Donny Cates, but with Venom, I was kind of on the fence. Man, spectacular. I'm definitely subscribing to this one. All right, next up, we're going to switch over to Image. We have Oblivion Song. So Robert Kirkman, writer of many titles out there that are just, phenomenal. I've read through most of them in trade. Walking Dead, I've read through only the compendium #1 of the 3 that are out there so far. Loved it, man. Absolutely loved it. So this one, I wish, I got used to that trade reading. I love just, having all those storylines kind of all together instead of kind of waiting month to month. But, man, so far the storyline is, it started off kind of slow. I thought that issue #2 really kind of started peaking it up. This one kind of expands, this universe here. You kind of find out, so that there's a lot of humans, like 2 realms kind of like merged together for a little bit. So there's a lot of humans that went over to this other realm. Some of them were saved over time, like we figure out how to go back and forth. But over time, it's like we kind of like lost like any other humans. The government, quit funding search parties. And in here, you actually find out that there's many humans here. There's other, communities that just thrived afterwards. And again, this world has just like these huge like alien monsters just, everywhere. And the humans were able to actually thrive in that world. So yeah, a lot of deeper storyline now. A lot more of what's going on the other side. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Oblivion Song. So yeah, definitely going to stick with this title so far. All right, next up again from Image, Port of Earth. So pretty cool, like an alien type of storyline. It could be like, realistic, like this is, like a take of this is what could really happen. So, overall you have Earth that's, 80% water, and the aliens have technology to convert water into fuel. So Earth becomes like a gas station, so to speak, along like an intergalactic space route for many alien races. And along that way there's trades of like technology, and this is really how the humans, like the politics that go behind it, both the benefits and the negatives of what could potentially happen with mixing of technology, mixing of other alien species coming here. We haven't gotten to like viruses or anything of that nature yet, but pretty cool. Not too much action. A lot more politics and more of what could happen. Just more storytelling of what could happen. So pretty cool. I may actually switch over to trade on this one. I'm not sure how many titles or how many issues are going to go on this title, but I may switch over to trade on this one. All right, next up, Maestros, and this is one I cannot wait for, month to month, man. I really enjoyed this title. So this one includes, magic, another magical realm. The artwork, in my opinion, is phenomenal. I love that hard line, like that super detailed artwork, man. I love it. This one has more, a lot of adult situations. Definitely not for kids in any way, but a lot of gore that occurs and a lot of twists. Man, this is a great title. So in comparison to Curse Words, I would actually prefer this title more. A lot more adult situations. I can't remember who brought that up, but that was a good comment from whoever brought that up in my last video. But yeah, love this title. Definitely want to see like what happens next. The very end of this one was like a total, like what happened. It seemed like the title was going to end. Apparently there's only one more issue. I guess it stops at #7, but at the end of this one is like the bad guys win. Like what? Very, very mind-blowing here at the very end of that one. Okay, this was a pretty cool one. So this is a Barrier. Most of y'all, from what I saw from videos this weekend, most of y'all picked this up as a free comic book day. I picked up one, but I did not read through it. So they released number 1 again today. This had like a little bit larger format, which is mimics number 2 on. So you read this one sideways, and this one actually does not fit in a standard or current bag, but this one fits in a magazine bag, is what I just found out. Just kind of like sorting through my bags. But yeah, so this one is all horizontal panel layout. Man, love it. Man, I really enjoyed this type of format, in my opinion. Sorry, I can't get both pages here on the screen here, but really enjoyed this type of format all the way through. You know, I loved, you know, just changing it up. I loved how they introduced the character, you know, always on the top page and the bottom page of, you know, which town they're from and where you're at. I really enjoyed this layout. The format here was just phenomenal. Enjoyed the coloring as well. So you have like a border police type of storyline. You know, animals are kind of dying like near the border. You know, can't really figure out what's going on. You have the main character as a border policeman, and one more Hispanic person. Was it Guatemala? I think it's where he's from. But here you go, Honduras is where he's from. The 2 main characters, and I'm going to go ahead and spoil, you know, what happens here at the very end, because I'm going to show this number 2. So issue number 1 and 2 both came out this week. Of course, the Free Comic Book Day came out this past Saturday. So this is actually, you know, more of, so you have animals kind of dying by the border. So is it like the chupacabra? Is it aliens? You know, what is it? Come to find out, this is kind of more of like an alien type of storyline is what we're getting into this title. I just want to show that artwork on the very last page, which I thought was phenomenal. So yeah, this is kind of like a little twist at the very end to show aliens, but when I'm getting into number 2, that's the only thing that will make any sense. So yeah, again, number 1 was reissued today at this standard format that they're putting in this issue number 2 out. So again, excellent artwork, excellent storyline. I would highly suggest, you know, if you're looking for, if you enjoy sci-fi storylines, that alien type of storyline, man, this definitely is a great storyline. Oh, a little bit risque there, sorry about that. This is definitely a great storyline with great artwork to go along with it. You know, love the different format, you know, really all over that. So yeah, Barriers by Image, check it out, guys. Okay, one from, actually I have 2 from IDW, I'm going to split it up, but this one from IDW, this is The Spider King. Excellent storyline. So this was actually ended this one title at number 4. So this was like the culmination of, you know, you have this alien, like parasitic type of like spider looking alien who invades all of these worlds. He starts like, you know, once he like kind of touches or infects you, he kind of uses you like as a minion. And that's how he kind of takes over like all these worlds, you know, across like thousands of years. So this is kind of like a mashup of Vikings and aliens. So this was kind of like the final battle. Very, very good fight scenes in my opinion, man. I really enjoyed this title. And it looks like, I guess this title is done, but they're going to bring it back like in maybe other miniseries is what it may look like at the very end. So yeah, The Spider King. Okay, from Scout Comics, Smoketown. So this is one of those that has like a weird type of like release. It's definitely not monthly. This has been spread out for maybe like a year and a half or something, it seems like. A great storyline here in my opinion. And I love the paper stock that Scout Comics utilizes. So it's like that very, very like high like quality slick type of paper grade. So yeah, great storyline. So it's like a bunch of various storylines that kind of like merge together. So in here it kind of like comes to the culmination. This is like a human trafficking type of a situation. So you have this woman who, you know, you find out she killed her husband. She has like great remorse over. She has like mental type of issues. You know, she sees her husband dead. You know, he talks to her from time to time because she's kind of like whacked out in the head now. But undercover cops kind of know that she killed her husband, so they're forcing her to go undercover and, you know, kind of utilizing her, you know, in order to get information to bring down this one guy. So yeah, very cool, you know, kind of like a little mobster, you know, ish type of storyline, but a lot of good twists in here in my opinion. So yeah, very, very good. This is one that's definitely a lot better in trade in my opinion, just because like the story, you got to read the storyline all together, and you know, they put this out like every like 2 or 3 months or something. So yeah, but great storyline, Smoketown. Alright, from Titan Comics. So this is Supermansion. this is a TV show that originally started on Crackle. They're showing it in syndication on Cartoon Network. I think season 3 just started, so I haven't seen anything from season 3 yet. But man, great TV show. So this is like Robot Chicken type of comedy, and more like a parody of like Justice League and the Avengers, kind of like mashed together. And here you go. So yeah, if you like The Tick, in my opinion, it's a lot of that type of humor, like that superhero satire, if you want to call it that. So yeah, excellent storylines. If you love the TV show, you will love this. I'm not really sure why they kind of drew them differently. They should have drawn them exactly how they were in the TV show. I'm not really sure why they kind of changed that. But good artwork nonetheless. But yeah, so again, if you're looking for that humor type of superhero genre, man, check this one out, Supermansion. Okay, last up from IDW, once again, we have The Highest House. So this is in magazine format. I don't think I get the very, very top of it, almost. But magazine format, love it, dude. So because of the magazine format, it's just so much of a larger canvas. And man, this storyline is just phenomenal. So this is kind of like a medieval type of, like feudal type system. You have the king or the lord of the land, and magic is definitely involved. And then you have slaves there, at the bottom. So this really all follows a slave boy. His name is Moth. Man, you fall in love with the slave boy, like, by page number 2 in that issue number 1, like you're already in love with this kid, man. This is such a great storyline. So, he actually gets the, so he's in love with like the daughter of the Lord, and this is one daughter type to where no regular human could ever touch her. You're like kill type of situation, and he's in love with her. So you have that thing kind of going on. You have also like other warring houses who are trying to kill this house here. So it's a great epic battle here at the very end, where he actually rallies all of the slaves in order to fight back. And man, it's a great battle, man. So yeah, if you're into like the Lord of the Rings type of genre, without the monsters, but yeah, The Highest House, check it out. So guys, that's going to be it for this week's brand new haul. Should you enjoy what you see here, please like and subscribe. Talk to you later.